I've been to Barcelona. This was my 6th time, so I've been to Barcelona quite a few times. So the sun was beaming. It's probably about 30 degrees. Everybody was in t-shirts and shorts. It was a normal day in Barcelona. So we just we're at this restaurant. We'd been sitting there for 40 minutes. I remember just looking over to the waiter and asking him for the bill. And at that point, we just hear screaming. And when we heard screaming, I looked across, and within a split second, this van came into my vision. And it just drove through the crowds, and you could hear the noise that it made, hitting people. We sat there for 5 seconds. I saw this van go past, and the moment it'd gone past, I knew I had to do something. My instincts kicked in. The next thing I know, I'm standing in the middle of the Ramblas, and I'm looking left and right, and there are shoes everywhere, there is phones, there are bags, there is everything, and in all that chaos, there are bodies just littered everywhere as well. It was a war zone. When I saw Julian, I just ran to him automatically, again instinct, just knowing I had to do something. When I ran to him, I could see there was blood around his head. And at this point, you know, you've got split seconds to think about it, and my thought process was I only had my shorts on and my t-shirt, and I had a man bag that was holding. I thought to myself, I'm going to have to take my t-shirt off to stem the bleeding. When I dropped to him and I looked, the van had actually run over his head. He'd gone, he'd died at that point. You know, I did check for a pulse. I put my hand on his back as well, but I knew straight away looking at him, he wouldn't have survived that because of the trauma. Yeah. I've always said he looked like my son, and for me at that point he was my son. So my concern then was really what can I do? And then I know he'd gone. I wasn't going to leave him. I was talking to him. Yes, I was afraid. The policemen came and they shouted at me to move. And at that point, I was just looking back up the Ramblas and back down the other way just to see if there's another vehicle coming. And if there was, I was adamant I would have picked Julian up and moved him, because I wouldn't let anybody, you know, run over him again. You know, I hear a lot of people saying it's a bad world, it's a cruel world. Actually, it's not. The world is that beautiful place.
You know, when you first hear it, you have to double take, you know, to see, wow, is that really Harry? But he'll help anybody, you know, especially if somebody's in difficulty, whether he knows them or not, he will, you know, stand up for them.